so Gandhi's... Okay, both Nilfgaard decks are banned. That's nice and easy. Alright. Oh my gosh, I hope the score is updating and I wasn't in studio mode for the first game. Okay, and the bands are both Nilfgaard and Nilfgaard. Okay. So, game 1, we have the Inspired Zeal Necker against Gandhi's Self-Wound. So, there's a decent amount of control for Gandhi, but there's a lot of sort of little bronze threats coming out for Kareem here, which I don't know if Gandhi will be able to properly answer. Opting to go for Reaver's setup in this round 1, immediately playing Reavers with the Crystal Skull to protect him, along with the Aedoran. Problem is that they can be shut down if a single Olgid gets played here. Granted, Olgid can be locked in response, though there is access for Neomancy and Tapella, though there is also a second lock in the Deroggery. So I could very well be seeing the round control coming over for Kareem if that was kind of the Neomancy taken. Instead we see the Totem signaling an early Svarblood, which is trying to go for a bit of a board wipe here. Although, these Reavers will flip one of the Fanatics, but with it going to 6 power, I doubt we'll see both Reavers getting, both Fanatics getting flipped. Instead, it could actually be worthwhile locking one of these Fanatics, because that would mean that that would be 4 damage dealt, and the Fanatics would all just end up dying out. Still, Swab would only end up dealing 3 damage, and with the Aedoran living, that would be enough to repopulate a little bit as well. There's 2 damage, 3 damage on the spawned one. There are actually only 2 Reavers remaining. And Gandhi is ahead right now. So look, this could be a potential sort of win on even sort of thing. But yeah, a lock does come down on Svarblood. I think it's basically forced if you don't want to lose on even here as Kareem. Quite nice. Yeah, as mentioned, the Neomancy was the only way to find access to the Pella. With no Pella, this Svarblood isn't getting any more use out of. We do see the Canute coming down actually. Canute kills the Aedoran. Chaotrold Clash killing the active Reaver. So now there is still 3 Reavers on board, and there's not doing much because they're just hitting the armor off of Canute. And with the Drakkar coming down with the 2 Bloodthirst, a very nice engine with the Totem, 2 points per turn. Also a bit of a Reaver's counter, even sort of automatically absorbing that damage right now. Able to get ahead slightly here for Kareem, but I don't see them having the points to get ahead here in a good way. Wagon is Heatwave. Actually, there's a pass here with the tie. And maybe you would have wanted to use Pella. But I think Pella maybe serves more use defensively. Because if you can get a Sigvald or a Draco Turtle to stick, they can do a lot alone. Although with Canute gone and the Chaotrold on board already used, there is sort of a bit less payoff for having Sigvald or a Draco Turtle sticking already. Early Flotsam you can do, because there's still the Mish Generator as the artifacts come through from the Golden Necker. Not amazing pools. And you usually like to see the order being used sort of spam a lot in one turn with the Golden Necker in like around 3. But maybe threatened enough to try to use the order to spawn another Reaver or a Lanchnet. So Olgid basically just saying Reavers aren't going to do anything to me now. Yeah, this is the problem. Reavers in this matchup suck. Like, even a single car can kind of counter them. Agree. And yeah, so you see actually 3 into matter here. Fryhead getting the golden. Use it offensively to kill off the Reaver Scout to ensure the Flotsam doesn't have a viable target. And here's where it gets quite dicey. There are more engines on board for Gandalf raking those points. Knut can sort of remove anything that Cream tries to set up. It is getting 5 damage per turn for free onto that Olgierd. And the hand is just awkward here for Kareem. Ildiko is not great, nothing to support, nothing it's really supporting. Kind of need to save the lock for a save. At least kind of forcing the Sigvald and the lock to be drawn. It's pretty dicey. Ugh. You're not even able to catch up here. Very sad Flotsam being used. And I don't know if I really like it. Because just how are you catching up?
A gold chain. Will it suffice to end the old fool?
You're basically playing Ildiko as a glorified 10-point play, forcing you to choose an early leader. But like, your Reavers are basically now just giving 2 points over to Gandalf each turn. And the second Drakkar are actually good because of those Reavers. Flip on the Drummond Berserker. I think it's a Drummond Berserker, right? Yes. It's so strange, like you just remember, there's so many just slightly different variations on names to remember. Yeah, that is the pass. Maybe they'd want to just try to shorten the round. Maybe thought Gandalf's hand might have been a bit better, trying to force out a gold, make it a bit awkward. But I think Kareem definitely didn't get the additional value out of those trades. Oh gosh. Dwim and Sigvald and Sigdriefus, right? This could very well be a 2-0. And like the other scary thing, trying to contest that round 1 as Kareem. He played Mata, and because Golden Necker is 10 provisions, it is an absolute guarantee Golden Necker is in your hand at the end of that round there. So, yeah, Gandhi knew that you wouldn't be able to play your entire hand. As long as they're able to get ahead at 1 card left in hand, basically guarantee the win on even. You can't really commit Golden Necker round 1 unless you have a really solid game plan. The round 2, round 3, and the opponent spent too much. Say. With Sigvald remaining, you could never get away with that. It's been Golden Necker. Pretty good pulls for Kareem here, getting 2 Cintron Royal Guards. Has this Reaver Scout to spawn another one. And getting a little bit of that niche generator value as well. Actually playing for the niche generator carryover here. However, just yikes. This is Sigvald sitting on board with a location click. Sigdriefus right can just pull Knut as well. Veneermancy could go for a water. To me that seems like the best play. Just get the Sigvald nice and big, set him up. Actually goes for the Draco Turtle instead. Okay. Draco Turtle is quite nice with the Jewel as well, to be fair. This actually means the Sigvald might not be doing much this round. Instead, unfortunate the Onager hits the Sigvald. And the Draco Turtle misses the Doom and Viandra. Ay, ay, ay. I mean,
What do you
you
need?
bring Knut back, right? Depends on what you use. Oh, actually, okay, no, goes for the Sigvald. Interesting. Okay. Sorry, Svalbard. Not bad, Sigvald, I guess. Was it? How much armor did the Draco total have? But yeah, it's not enough by the smallest of margins, actually. Arguably, if Kareem played some of those, like maybe another of those Royal Guards front row, 2 more points there. Some pings rolled a bit differently from the Onega. Could have been a slightly different game there. But yeah, that was very rough. I mean, I think even if Cream was able to win that round, probably didn't even have much left in deck. Granted, I don't think Andy did either. But that is the first Self-Wound deck going through. The question is, will Kareem also be able to pick up a win with Self-Wound as we go through the series? And I think that really is how you kind of have to play against that Northern Realms list. You can't afford to give him an inch, because if you let him set up, they'll just run away with an entire mile, and yeah, good luck catching up. But I will catch you guys up on who is on Blue Coin next. It is going to be Gandalf, and the 2 decks remaining for Gandalf are Jackpot and the Skoya Precision Strike Renfrey. Now, with the Blue Coin, you probably take the Jackpot to make use of your Tiger's Eye into the Madame Maki Serenity, setting up your gold engines, going for a potential Temporal Pass. Red Coin could be a Self-Wound here for Kareem. Not sure on how it's going to match up into Jackpot, especially with a few of these Self-Wounds playing a little bit differently. We've also seen the Vampires actually have a decent time into Jackpot as well, and Leo surprised me by taking it quite a few times on Red Coin. Could be seeing that as a potential too. But it's not like I think any of those decks have a super amazing matchup into Gandhi, so I don't think Gandhi needs to be super worried about sort of counter queuing and surprising with the Skoya queue on Blue Coin. But you know, watch me just be completely wrong and does pull decisions back here. I've got to say, it is nice to see a number of the Team Elder Blood players still playing here in 2024 and taking part in these community open qualifiers. Okay, so it is Jackpot, and the Red Coin is the Self-Wound here for Kareem. But as we just go into this game, I should mention that a huge shout out to Mattel for organising these community tournaments in 2024. Very amazing plan over the course of the year, simulating what we had for competitive Gwent the last few years, having opens and mid-season and World Masters, and also organising the qualifiers where the top ladder is able to take part in qualifiers off of ladder performance. And you can do !Matol in chat to get the invite to the Discord where you can have all the information for these community tournaments. I'm actually a bit surprised here. Gandalf decides to opt not to play the Madame Maki Serenity, saying, I'm just going to play the 2 tax collectors. This could either mean giving up the round 1, or thinking that the Self-Wound isn't going to have the tools to contest the round 1 unless they maybe commit. Playing very, very slowly. And look, I'll be expecting this portal to get ahead, especially with the Drakar. Now, who needs Who needs the Svalbard Totem when you can use Dim and Corsairs? And there's always going to be armor for them to be getting value out of. Unfortunately, no shifts to play to decrease their cooldown since you do have both Drakars coming out here. But you know, it would have been nice. Yeah, that's actually all the 4 provision cards, so not running the Bear Witcher Adepts. Actually does have the Quartermaster, but not 4 provision still in deck. Tribute coming out. Goes for a later Madame Marquis Serenity. That's interesting. Yeah. But that is still 5 engines on board here, and with that, Gandhi is able to scare Cream out of the ring. So you can just see how Madam is able to single-handedly warp the entire landscape of the game. Which, look, to some degree, Portal can do that, but I don't know about you, I would much rather try to contest a Portal than contest a Madam. Pretty good draws there for Cream, finding access to the Covenant of Steel. Which, look, there's not much damage in the list here for Gandalf. Looks like he's actually not even playing Freechill in this variation. Oh no, sorry, it's there, I couldn't see it in hand. It's poking out now, it's a bit clearer. But yeah, Freechill only really good at killing Knut, sort of, in this matchup. More protect against the poisons. However, yeah, the reason I said ooh before is Bricked King of Beggars. Either you love to see it if you're playing against Syndicate, or you hate to see it if you are playing as Syndicate. And yeah, it really, like, it's probably less bad having it if you're the one bleeding, because if you have it in hand and you're being bled, you could very easily just get 2-0'd with a complete brick and just ruining your game plan. But having it in hand here on the bleed, it makes it a lot harder for Gandalf to really achieve a lot. Because, like, this Shady Vendor is a whole lot worse since you're not refunding the tribute, and that is really the only way, the only card that can pull the King of Beggars out in the next round. If you play this, King of Beggars is basically that's sort of 2 unplayable cards in hand. You have a Fist Tech without a follow-up poison. You have a super sketchy looking Brawler. And since you're not able to hard commit, I don't think you're using the Yago. So realistically, how far can you go in this round? You're already down by quite a number of points with this Champion of Svarblood transformed. You do get the Knut out, so that is the first Knut being used with that champion to clean up the H and A. H and A, more like go away. I should also mention though, if we're talking about bricks, there is this Biting Frost in hand for Kareem. It's annoying for sure. Like, it means the Tempest is, well, both not in hand and pretty useless if we find it later on. But it at least isn't as bad of a brick, I'd say, as having the Beggars in hand. This might be more of like just a value bleed. This value bleed is able to get a number of golds and even some more leader charge commitment out of Kareem. I think Kareem would have played Tempest at the drop of a hat if actually had access to it here. Notably, it would also actually help you thin. Okay, this is actually Yago coming through. Yago board wipe. Damn. Okay. I'm not respecting the brawler potential enough, it seems. Absolutely huge commitment from Gandalf here. But I kind of dig it. And yeah. Gosh, this Draco Turtle would be kind of suicidal if there was actually the double poison here for Gandalf. That could even just be game here. So it might be a bit of a bluff. And again, in theory, the Shady Vendor could give enough coins to get the Fist Tech through. But with how Gandalf is playing, there's no way you're getting enough coins to get the Fist Tech value. Thing is, though, now, Dream should be able to just sort of play Martyr and take the Sigvald. I guess you will have to use the actual K Troll here. Or actually 8, 6 is 14. You could use the leader instead. Yeah. So I think the one damage on leader spawning a bear isn't that valuable. You'd much rather have the actual controlled order on board going into the round 3. That can kind of just wipe out any sort of efficient spenders, kill off a soul as well. Scary. Nice draw for the Novigrad here for Gandalf. Decree is nice for options it provides as well. Immediate mulligan on Tempest. Really good to have the Sigdriefers right, but I think Cream probably needs Svalbard to have a real good chance here. Granted, this also is not an amazing hand for Gandalf. You have Novigrad, but yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, Cream does find the Svalbard on the final mulligan. So, despite not having the Tempest in the round 2, doesn't need it. But able to lead with the Fanatics here. Wonder if you just use, I think offensive verification is the play here in all honesty. It means that the Novigrad order isn't able to be clicked. And there isn't really a -6 tempo because of the Svalbard dealing damage to the whole entire board. Like, this is sort of the deck where it feels the least bad to play verification is when you're able to follow it up with a Svalbard. So, doesn't opt to go for the Soul with the Decree. Instead it is Shady Bender because that's the only way to pull out the King of Beggars. Finds the 4 damage to kill off a Fanatic. Stolen Mutagen stealing away the life of the bear. They're not able to move into a Bear Abomination. Here comes the Svalbard killing the King of Beggars. And getting a little bit of a lead going. I wonder if we see poisons come down. It could very well just be a defender to try to respond. I also wouldn't mind seeing a res onto a Canute. Maybe it's a bit early. There's not that much board value for kind of resing Canute, but in Canute to damage the Svalbard and sort of negate a lot of the value of the poison. And if you're able to deal the 8 damage, you do get another Fanatic on board. It's helping you go a bit wider, which is quite nice. I think that is actually the best play here. Because yeah, the Canute itself will immediately trigger the blood. So it goes for the Sigvald. To be fair, even if we see the answer of the Sigvald, the Heat Wave, I still think Cream's in a pretty good spot here. Especially with this Hair-Trolled kind of just cleaning up the few units that Gandalf has on board.
My home is wherever the road takes me.
There's the Heat Wave, which and yeah, you'd expect that to be the best Heat Wave, but ironically, there's actually a better Heat Wave target coming out now that wouldn't have been the Sigvald. And yeah. Pretty good margin of a win here for Cream, I'd say. And that round maybe goes entirely differently without the Svalbard being pulled from that final mulligan. But if you're able to find all your golds there, self-wound is very, very scary, and that's why we've seen it win the first 2 games of the series here. So we are now 1-1, and both players have gotten their self-wounds through. And just like before, we have a series on our hands. Not going to be a 3-0. Both players picking up at least a win. Cream returning to the blue coin. Might see the Northern Realms coming out again. Which could very well just be responded to with the Vapors Strike. And I think Skoy is probably favoured a bit in that sort of matchup as long as they just push hard. It can feel like an overcommitment, the kind of stuff you need to spend round 1 to fill enough engines and secure round control, but you really just can't afford to give it up. Okay. I mean, I've said my prediction. Ready? Train could also take the vampires. I think vampires probably has a little better time on red coin than the Northern Realms Golden Mecha, just judging from what we saw last week a little bit. But I think in both situations it probably makes the most sense for Gandalf to just take the Scoia'tael. So while we're waiting for this game to get started, quickly go over some of the other dates that are coming up. So we are currently in the qualifiers for the Community Gwent Open. This is the top 32 qualifier happening on today, February the 17th, as well as February the 18th. Although technically it just became February the 18th here in Australia. So, you know, depends on who you ask. The main event will be on March 16th. Also keep your eyes out for week 2 of the Gwent World Cup, which is happening next week on February 24-25. Returning to the game, we do have the jackpot on red coin here for Gandalf. That's a bit of a surprise to me. Decides that maybe that is able to stand up to the Northern Realms coming out again on blue coin. It's always interesting, like, when you do take a, blue coin deck on blue coin game 1 and lose with it, do you take it again, blue coin game 3? Because it is what your opponent would be expecting. But I think it does kind of make the most sense here. No Ildico means that there's kind of lines that you take are a bit different. Also, no mutual generator in the hand right now. Reavers are a nice little way to start with. I don't know if it was really necessary to use a leader on, the stratagem there. I don't think there's really much of a way to deal 4 damage. Like, the only ways would have been through using a leader, which would have killed it no matter what, really. I guess maybe you're protecting against Brawler leader turn 1. And, actually, to be fair, that could be maybe slightly problematic. Now, it's 2 tax collectors, but they're both going to be dying this round. Looks like this is going to most likely be a tempo pass, I think. Yeah, and this is actually like a really nice time to go for the meta. Because when you're gonna go for this sort of tempo pass anyways, you're able to give yourself sort of hand fixing for the future in a way. Also able to just set up the wagon. It gives extra time to get the wagon across, enough time for the Reavers to go through and just shut things down. Gandhi could poison the wagon here, but I still think the pass is just gonna come through for Cream. And yeah, how do you catch up when you're pacing down all this damage, even if you have the Flying Redanian coming back every time. Bit hard for Reavers to hunt down a ghost ship. I think there'd still be enough hunting coming down that the other units, the other humans, are as dead as the Dead Sea. A lot of Centurion Royal Guards drawn here. Probably not what Cream really wants on this bleed. Those are probably better for kind of a short round. They have a wagon click immediately. Maybe followed up with a Reaver Scout. Could even see an Ildico coming down. Not sure. Double leader commitment. I mean, realistically, the only way to have a good answer for this would be through Freak Show. We have this Madam Mucky, Serenity coming down, out come the Passive Peaches and the Slice Seductress. Ooh, that is disgusting. Casting contest with the setup Reaver Scout. And the Muture Generator to help just boost all of these up. We even see the last leader being used to get even more Reavers. And with this armor, with the Muture Generator boosts, like even just the Muture Generator taking them over from sort of 4 effective health to 5 effective health, means the Freak Show needs to deal, you know, 1 more shot to actually kill them off. Yeah, I don't know how much this Reaver Scout is really going to be able to do. Yes, that is all the leaders gone here for Kareem. Actually see the 4 damage coming through with the roll on the Shady Vendor. Actually see a Purge coming out, killing the lowest Reaver. Setting up a bounty, I guess you can collect with a Heat Wave. Also, there's only 1 poison in hand with the Fistek Trafficker. That's not going to be able to follow up on much. Onager coming down on the front row, getting even more value off these Reaver pings. Very rough board state to play into for Gandalf here. Still hasn't played the Freak Show. And, it's just, not sure how much it would actually do. It feels like Gandalf is sitting in a ship with with so many different leaks just bursting through the sides, like rotting wood, and the only thing to cover up the leaks is this Freak Show, but it's only going to be able to plug a couple of them. Yeah, so the Heatwave collects on the bounty, but you're Heatwaving a Reaver Scout after most of the orders were already used. Here comes a Flotsam, and even more things being set up on the Arbalest here. Maybe should be using them this round, especially since the Onager can double dip on them. That could be one of the better targets for the Freak Show. But yeah, gotta be super careful here. Scandi could very well be board wiped if he doesn't do something soon. Arbalest does say goodbye. Okay, sits on the Freak Show. I think makes sense. You want to combine that with the Yargo. Okay, Madam is dead. Gets another Reaver. And playing it on the front row there gives a lot of value for the melee roam generator. Like, this is the crazy thing. Cream's gotten a decent amount of sort of carryover boosting up this Centurion Royal Guard and this Arbalest, just playing a few 5Ps on the back row. But with the few Reavers played on the front row, they each get 5 boost. It's sort of insane. Yeah, I mean... yeah, this Freak Show, not long for this world. Gandalf says, okay, fine, I can't do anything. This ship has sunk. Probably the origin story of the Flying Redanian, perhaps. And, yeah. Much better time, second go with the Northern Realms. Golden Necker for Kareem, able to get the win. Goes up to match point here against Gandalf. Kareem was actually in chat earlier while we were casting the first series and said that he didn't prep for this tournament. Seems to be going decently, despite a lack of prep. As I told him, who needs prep? Prep is overrated. Some of my best performances were when I didn't have that much prep. I literally chose a deck last minute with like played one game of scrims which I lost. But ended up even making on Blue Lyrio spreadsheet of that qualifier. So does mean that we will finally see the vampires for Kareem, because it is the only deck that is left for them. Gandalf, are we going to see Jackpot taken for the 3rd time in a row, which would be on his final blue coin? Or are we going to see the Skoya Renfrey finally being played from Gandalf's side? I feel my voice kind of dying. It is a lot rougher kind of solo casting, and I feel like I just talk non-stop. Whilst we're waiting for this war to start, show you the schedule of this year. You can see we're in February right now. We are currently in the middle of the community qualifiers for the next tournament, which will be the Community Open. Also the first tournament of this Community Masters cycle. Also, this is a competitive season, and I believe this is double crown points compared to January because it doesn't lead into a qualifier. You'll see that there will be another set of Community Masters qualifiers and an Open in the following couple of months, leading up to another set of qualifiers for the Challenger in July. Then moving into the second half of the year, we'll have 2 more Community Masters Opens before the Grand Finals at the year in December. We will see which of our players will have a good chance of progressing in these qualifiers and possibly into the Open or later on in that schedule as we move into the game 4 loading into here. It is finally Renfrey Precision Strike and the Vampires, the 2 decks we haven't seen yet, facing off right here and now. See the animation of the Eudora disappearing from deck there for Gandalf. And also 2 Sentinels in hand straight away. Gonna have to mulligan those away. But otherwise, not bad draws. All 3 Zoltan in hand for Gandalf. And we do see... Okay, immediate Agitators. Quite nice. Getting armor to set up the Zoltan Warrior immediately. And Curse Scroll finding the Renfrey. Probably put in the Wersa Berserker bottom of the deck. A quite scary hand already for Gandalf. Has almost all their golds. And this Iris can be away with the companions. Flip side of things, we do see Kareem has drawn into the Operator and the Fledder combination. Using them round 1 can kind of force out a bit of early control from Gandalf. Especially when a lot of the control tends to be loaded up in this leader and the Zoltan Warrior, which is especially the case if there's no skirmishes in hand. You see the immediate Operator coming through, you can see the leader with up to 7 points. Quite difficult to answer, especially since the block is missing here from Gandalf's hand. Yeah, with no real good answer, it's just the Iris' companion setting up the carryover, putting Iris von Everett in the graveyard. Guess she dies of grief, but fortunately for everyone else, they're able to kind of profit off of that grief. It's really not great when you put it that way. Necrat's coming down, very nicely sets up the bleeding each turn as long as Vampire's being played, which, you know, a Vampire deck, pretty good at playing Vampires. Able to double dip on that double bleeding with that Fledder able to get a double boost. And the double cooldown on the Necrat will be halved for each vampire to be able to get double value. Yeah, some of those doubles were not said properly. There's no one here to stop me, so I can make as many very terrible puns as I like. Double Fledders here. And yeah, I don't know really how Gandalf is going to be able to contest this round unless you commit some of these really high value golds in the form of the Zoltan Warrior, Grey Oak, or Renfrey. No, it is, I guess, nice to know that the Zoltan Warrior is the Zoltan which I like to say has married the Eudora here. Here comes Eudora spawn at 5 power. Leader finishes off the Rat, and yeah, the rest of the leader with the other Fledder. And like, this is the problem, right? A lot of your control is contained in this leader and the Zoltan Warrior. You have like sort of one really good turn of control where you can answer multiple threats. So yes, you've done it, gotten ahead by a lot. You took this deck on blue coin. So now Cream can kind of just pass. And did spend a bit, you know, Operator, double Arcane, one of the Necrorats. But it says, I don't need a pass just yet, even if Nick is the good boy coming out. We're only down by really 10 points after this bleeding is going to go through. The Gandalf plays out the Orphan Berserker. A little bit of an engine comes down there. Alright. Okay, Decree into Alp. It looks like Cream is trying to set up the Necromancer's Tome by playing copies of bronzes here. Thinking might need to commit the Golden Necker if I do lose the round and get bled here potentially. The choices are play a bronze and draw, spawn a base copy of an enemy and damage all units by 1. I assume a bronze is taken. You have played the lowest provision from deck. Split 6 damage or 4 on a pass. This being round 1, I feel like the humility here could be quite valuable. But yeah, it is the play bronze draw a card and the 4th pass. Also, if Cream is eagle-eyed, we'll be able to see that this Renfrey leader is grayed out, which does give away that there are no bronzes in hand for Gandalf. And with only 6 golds, you can have a pretty good idea of what is possibly in hand here. And yeah. Also, to be fair, this Alp does, well, like once all the bleeding ticks through, she does play for 10. But also sort of 6 extra boosts coming through onto the Fledder, so not bad at all. Scarcane coming through. Cream might want to be trying to save the Queen of the Night to purify the luck. Or can also just purify this resilience. Not a bad play at all. And I think this is still Gandalf ahead by a slight amount. We do see this Maxi being played. Sees that the luck will be found in the round 2, which is especially nice since the Queen of the Night is gone. Also draws into the Renfrey's gang and the Antherian. It wouldn't have the Filavandrel until the round 3 comes to play. Yeah, without the Filavandrel, this Oak probably wouldn't be as great in, say, a round 2. But yeah, now is where it looks a little bit dicey for Gandalf. This Riptide playing for really an effective 12 points. Seeing a bit of extra bleeding stacking up on the Eudora, possibly to set up the Proto Fledder. Really contest here. I guess Zoltan would catch you up, then you might be able to fade out the Proto Fledder. It actually goes just straight for the Oak, thinking I want to just deal with this Arcane. It's good to me. Proto Fledder here being used on the Eudora would be what 10 points itself, extra 3 on the Fledder. That would be enough to get ahead. And yeah, no more pings on the Berserker. It's run out of its armor here. Actually, sorry, I don't think it would get ahead because there is 4 points on the pass with the Renfrey. Shouldn't be forgetting that. You really cannot afford to be forgetting about those 4 points, but it is really easy to forget. Need to be super duper careful. And this Incubus, I mean, you have decent things to pull back for yourself, but there's nothing in Graveyard for Gandalf, so the Incubus is quite sad. realistically, unless you do get ahead properly with a proto-flutter, this could just be a pass coming through for green. Okay, instead says, oh, okay, fine, I'll play the Incubus. I'll force out your last card, and then I'll see if maybe proto-flutter is enough or not. I mean, it's not going to be enough here, but to be fair, you probably would rather have the proto-flutter in this sort of draw to round 3 potential, draw to round 2 push potentially. I don't know. Getting a flutter is still pretty sweet. Okay, Golden Necker top deck. That could be a bit of a saving grace there for Cream. Has to mulligan the next turn. Draws into the Oran. I mean, that looks like a decent hand, but those golds aren't really that great if you are going to end up playing that Necromancer's Tome. And you actually see the Renfree's game being mulliganed here by Gan. Oh wait, was it? I think this wasn't shuffled. I think the game just got mulliganed. Saving the game for the short round 3, it looks like. You see actually just Oriana coming down with no real other value. That's interesting to see. Immediately gets locked. That seems like a very bad trade. And yeah, as long as there's a unit on the board for Gandalf, he will be getting value out of that for boosting fusion. Okay. I guess you just play the Verena here. It's actually not bad. The bleeding from the Verena will disrupt this harmony. Able to get ahead, yes, because the bleed will put Cream ahead by 1 after the 4 boost on the Renfrew would go through. And this sets up quite a big potential proto-flutter, although I expect the Arcane ought to be enough. The Necromancer's Tome, the Arcane would basically play for 10. Yeah, but with the Necromancer's Tome gone, these bronzes in deck are not going to be very good for Cream. I think Gandalf is in a decent spot here. Does opt to just trade out this chariot, but I think that's fine. Does definitely, I think, get a bit more value out of shortening the round. Just stopping these bronze engines from really getting any value. Yeah, this just looks completely over. There's Philavandrel and Renfree's game, which is just so much point slam. I don't think these vampires are going to be able to keep up. Like, the problem also with like a proto-flutter finisher is that the bleeding you're applying just isn't really getting a lot of that. Oh, and as if that wasn't bad enough, it's not really a true sort of card disadvantage since Gandalf Bleeder kind of makes up for it. Like, yeah, you could even just, you know, play the Skirmisher with the Renfree leader. Okay, what I would have done is I would have played the Skirmisher, tried to draw the Berserker. Actually, maybe knew it was at the bottom because of the Maxi. Instead finds the second Skirmisher. So, these bronzes aren't even going to live here. Okay, I think this is like a little bit broken. Actually, this up will survive. But yeah, I mean, the play here is to just maximize the proto-flutter value. Maybe the proto-flutter will be enough? I mean, but the problem is this Philavandrel is 16 points. No, and there's 4 points in the pass. It can't be enough, can it? It will be a decent proto-flutter. And a little bit of the Arcane boost, but it's still going to be short. Okay. Yeah, by 6 points. Actually, very heads up, I think mulliganing the Renfri's getting there for Gandalf. Able to keep that around for the round 3. Just force out the Golden Necker in that round 2 lead. No Necromancer's turn for the round 3 is a huge maker. I wonder if Cream could have... I mean, look, we knew Gandalf's hand. So maybe Cream could have survived that bleed without needing to spend that Golden Necker. But, I mean, also with that super bad trade with the Oriana, I don't think that actually would have been such a viable... Because yeah, you had the Antherian getting the basically 2 harmonies. Drogi sort of traded up with like, what, I guess 3 points compared to the Oriana. And then there's also 4 points on the pass. Okay, so we are 2-2. This is gonna be match point. Whoever wins this last game in the series will be winning the whole series, able to keep going in the qualifier. And unfortunately for the loser, their attempt at this qualifier will be over, and they won't be able to have a chance to get a slot in this first open or. Is the blue coin Golden Necker Vampires against the red coin Jackpot. Jackpot immediately finding the Madame. I think this might be a list with 2. No, there's only 1. Oh wait, what is this? And okay, Brit King of Beggars. I think there's... Okay, we see an immediate decree into Operator into Fleda. Okay. I was gonna say, yes, there's only 1 Slice Seductress in this Jackpot list. Might have been another one, I think. So, yeah, this Madam is basically useless with this Slice Seductress in hand. There are 2 Peaches, I think. Wait. Gandalf is playing super greedy with only 1 Peaches, 1 Slice Seductress. And with that in mind, yeah, that's your 2 mulligans forced for round 2. Better not draw King of Beggars. Also means you can't really contest this round, especially with no H&A or Soul, unless you use your Decree. Yeah, it's pretty smooth sailing, I'd say, for the Vampires. Oh, not a connection. Hope this is an ending. Think we're fine? Okay. I'm trying to think, could a Tempo Pass even be viable for the Vampires? It looks like it is. Getting a long round Necromancer's Tome against a deck that doesn't really have answers for Necromancer's Tome is amazing. Having a Fleda set up in Graveyard, that the Fleda you play basically spawns a Fleda that they can't afford to kill. Amazing. Yeah, this could be very, very scary. And look, with this hand, how do you even catch up right now? You need a hard commit just to catch up. Because you're losing a couple points here, like yeah, I know the Tax Collector is ticking, Arcane is also ticking a bit. This is a Freak Show committed. Freak Show committed just to not even win the round a card down. So that is the control basically gone here for Gandalf. There's poisons. Okay, sorry, actually there is a heat wave. I forgot there is a heat. Yes. But still, vampires are pretty good in the long round. As for Rena now, Rena can kind of just counter Madame as well anyways. And having to go 3 cards down means that it's not really possible to set up your artifact carryover for the round 2. We also see a bunch of poisons coming down, which means that those aren't going to be available for the round 3. I think, yeah, this is a deck that, yeah, only runs limited poisons. That is really the poisons gone. Okay, actually, yeah, it's 1 Trafficker, 2 Fistex, so yeah. And now it's basically just time for him to set up the graveyard with his Necromancer's Tome to find value. Also, keep in mind that without playing the Madame already, you don't have as much thinning, so it is possible for this Heatwave to be missed. And granted, the boat, the Sewer Raiders, the Decree all thinned a bit already, but I mean, it's just slightly more likely, I believe, that the Heatwave is drawn than not drawn here for Gandalf. As for Kareem here, play the ARB. I don't think you really want to play much else here. You already kind of set up your graveyard enough with 1-offs of all your bronzes, and you don't really want to play any extra fletters. Like, you already have 1 in graveyard. Don't really gain anything more by playing a fletter here on the pass. And yeah. Actually, the other thing is there's a defender. Cream can just play defender and hide the tome behind the defender, in which case it doesn't even really matter if the hero is found. They don't see a way through the defender here for Gandalf. And the Purify here is the defensive Purify. It can't get rid of the defender. Ouch on this mulligan into turn. But with all these excess mulligans, Cream should be able to fix that up. Finds the Oriana, that's pretty amazing to have that to be able to be played later in the round here. And also, by giving up the round 1, Cream was able to secure first say. So I'd be expecting probably, say, a defender. Oh, wait, actually... Oh, doesn't find Golden Necker. Yeah, that hurts a bit. That does hurt quite a bit. It'll be a much slower kind of setup here, Cream. Although in saying that, there is also no Heatwave here for Gandalf. I know you want to play Tome next, but that is also, like, super sketchy. Purely because of just the threat of this Barnacle Brawler combining with the leader. But that is the line that is taken. This looks like a Madame type. I don't think you can play the Verena yet. It's probably just letters coming through. Get the bleeding through now. Yep. Yeah, like I think you probably just have to go like Fledders into Neckarats to just get that all set up. But once you have that, then you can have quite a nice time getting your up. I don't think there's enough damage here to sort of punch through all of this. But be careful because we have seen some really big brawlers earlier today. Alright, this ought to be enough. Just a rat type. Oh, okay, opts for the Verena right now. It says it's more valuable to just sort of disrupt the boost coming through on this these I need a name for them, like this Passy trio. What is all this spending for? Is this already Yago time? Oh, okay, it's just clicking to see what you get. It's another Peaches. So, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I guess Brawl was kind of well, you only spend it there really, but it didn't really achieve awfully much. It is quite a big point gap though right now. We'll say that much. But yeah, now this Verena means that basically none of these engines are getting much boosty value anymore. Is it time for another flutter? Yes. So now each turn all of these flutters, even if it's only 2 boost, that's sort of a 6-point boost. A lot of value here. Okay, yes, Shady Vendor finally punching through the defender. So I guess that's how you answer a defender. A whole round of brawler pings and then a Shady Vendor high roll onto the payday. Actually, still a pretty decent point gap, but I would be expecting now to sort of changing up a little bit. This bleeding onto King of Beggars makes an absolutely useless spender. This is Purify coming through onto the Peaches. Decides to let the King of Beggars die off. He might have been begging for attention, but didn't receive any help from this lackey. And now, yeah, like this Incubus is not super hot. Probably just want to pull an ALP back to get 3 bleeding. Decides to go for a final Blood Scent Leader charge, because this isn't going to be a turn where the Necrats get to trigger. The ALP. And yeah, it was a bit of a lead for Gandalf, but you just see like all these engines get so much value just each turn this round progresses, and in this 10 card round, sort of Gandalf's points peaked early, but with all of these vampires sticking, Cream's just been able to slowly and steadily ramp up as we've gone, and able to secure the win. Gandalf forfeits, knows it's over, can't contest, basically dead on board. And yeah, congratulations to Kareem taking a narrow 3-2 victory over his Team Elder Blood teammate, and I guess also like, my teammates.